Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and today I'm going to be talking about the meta in Japan right now. So if you didn't know, and by the way, this is on the website limitlesstcg.com. This is a website that I use a ton, and I'm going to be using it a lot right now as well. Oh, one real quick thing, they added juniors and seniors division decks for the World Championships. I don't know when that was added, but I just saw that. But the big thing is City Leagues are back. They returned at the time of recording this yesterday, which was September 7th in Japan. And they are tournaments. Here you can see there's 64 or capped at 64, so pretty much around 64 player tournaments that I think they're best of one, which honestly a lot of tournaments are not like regional and like international tournaments, but tournaments like these are. However, they are obviously they're in Japan, so this means that they have the Japanese cards. So we're going to be taking a look at decks from those tournaments. These all did well. They didn't all like win, but I believe they all came in top 8 at least. They might have all came top 4. I don't remember. They're all I describe them as like meta decks to some degree, and specifically we're talking about Stellar Crown. One of the decks that I'll talk about at some point is the Sacrilege deck. This is a pretty interesting deck, I guess, but this is not coming out soon. Internationally, I want to talk about stuff that's relevant internationally as well as relevant within Japan. I just look at this. This list plays 21 energy. That's a lot. Anyways, so we're not talking about Sacrilege today, though. We are talking about honestly mostly Terra support, including Trapghost EX. This is the big new attacker. I'll just kind of go over it pretty quickly. Has two attacks. Crown Opal, I think, is a good attack. Keep in mind, these cards are not brand new in Japan. They will be brand new internationally in releasing September 13th, this Thursday. So I'm really excited for that. But in Japan, they've been out for a little while. This set came out in July. Wow. So it's been out for a decent chunk of time. But Trapghost EX's attack here, Union Beat, which says it does, and by the way, these attack names, I don't know if they're 100% right, but what they do is right. You cannot use this attack a turn when going second, or going first, of course, but it does 30 for each of your bench Pokemon for 2 colorless energy. Pay this with a double turbo energy. You have to in this list, but go ahead, you hit for you're not hitting 130. No, you're hitting 220 because you have 8 bench Pokemon. And those 8 bench Pokemon, where's that coming from? Well, that's coming from the Stadium Area Zero Under depths, which says there's a bunch of like weird text here. But each player who has any Terra Pokemon in play can have up to 8 bench Pokemon. Of course, Trapghost is obviously Terra. It's literally in the name. It doesn't need to be a Stellar Pokemon. Stellar is like a new mechanic kinda. It doesn't matter that much. The Stellar attacks on the Stellar Pokemon aren't particularly impressive. But they're okay. But Terra Pokemon, you got. Well, we'll take a look at some of those later. But then we also have Noctowl here. Noctowl has its ability, which I think is really cool. It's my favorite ability from the set, I think. And it says treasure hunting. If you have Terra Pokemon in play, you may use this ability on play when you evolve it from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon in play. And you search your deck for up to 2 trainer cards and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. These can be any 2 trainers of any types. They can be supporters, tools, items, stadiums, whatever. You can mix and match. Obviously, you can't get energies. You can't get Pokemon directly, but you can get Pokemon search. This allows you to set up. It is the main engine, but not the only engine. We have Pheasantipsy EX. We have Pidgeot EX as well. And Pidgeot EX, Pidgey, Hoot Hoot, Noctowl. Lots of Pokemon you need to search out. You can search them out with Fan Rotom. You do have an attack here, which does 70 for 1 with a Stadium play. But the big reason you are playing this is for the ability Fan Call. You can only use this ability turn 1 and only use 1 of it, but turn 1 going first, or second, I should say. But it lets you search your deck for 3 colorless Pokemon with 100 HP or less and put them into your hand. These do not need to be basics, but they can and probably will mostly be basics. Looking for your Pidgey, your Hoot Hoots, and which it plays a split of for some reason. But anyways, and then it plays Noctowl as well, of course, which you can get, and you can get another Fan Rotom as well for whatever reason if you would want that. Though that's not that useful. And then you have Trapghost EX, which you cannot search off of the Fan Rotom, but is of course your main attacker. We do have one more new card here as well, which is going to be Briere, which says you can only use if your opponent has exactly 2 prizes remaining. And then during this turn, if your opponent's active is knocked out by damage from an attack used by your Terra Pokemon, take 1 more prize. Of course, your opponent might not have 2 prizes remaining. They might have 3 and then knock out a Terra and then have 1. So then, like, now what, right? But you have the Dusknoir here, which knocks itself out and puts it does damage counters, or essentially does damage. But the really cool thing here is that it allows you to go ahead and give up a prize. Obviously, normally not good, but here it allows you to put yourself back onto even prizes, or your opponent onto even prizes, I should say. And then that's really useful because it allows you to just go ahead and take an extra prize, potentially multiple extra prizes with the Dust Storm itself as well. So you just have a lot of different Pokemon here as well. Despite being a basic attacking deck, you have a Stage 2 engine, Stage 2 support damaging Pokemon. You have Luxray as a Stage 2 attacker. I mean, it's a lightning Pokemon. It's a Pokemon. I don't feel like talking about it right now, but it attacks if you're down on prize. It's good against certain things. Not my personal favorite, but I know some people are massive fans of this card. Honestly, Trapghost DX hasn't been doing like super well in Japan. I'm recording this on September 8th, so we've only seen 2 days of City League tournaments, so certainly not all of them are anywhere close to like a massive chunk, but Trapghost DX, looking at tournament results, it's played in these decks. Most of these are Palkia decks as well, which we will talk about later in the video, but we only see 3 Trapghost decks. The one's a Frostlass Trapghost deck. This is just like this is like a Frostlass box deck with some Trapghosts chucked in. But yeah, it's only seeing a little bit of play. This one, just checked. This one came in 7th. This one came in 10th, which is a little bit different. Wait, no, I lied. It's literally the same list. Okay. But so this list also plays, you got rare candies in this basic deck, which is kind of interesting. We got Turtle Scenario and Scoop of Cyclone as well, allowing you to heal your attacker, but also allow you to reuse the Knockdown, which is pretty cool, because we don't really see on-play Pokemon with abilities in the standard format do super well. We have Lumineon V, but I mean, there just aren't that many. It's not like they're bad. They just don't really exist that much. But yeah, Trapghost is definitely, it's definitely the best deck from the set, assuming you're counting, assuming you're only counting decks that you have the main attacker being new, but we certainly have some other new decks. This one is the Palkia deck. There are different ways to play it. I think this one, I believe, won a tournament or might have came second, but yeah, you have the Trapghost, the Noctowl, the Fan Rotom. We see Barrelines, the Pidgeotto rare candies here. We also see the item card, because we see no special energies, but we do have Glass Trumpet. You can only use this if you have Terra Pokemon in play. Again, the only Terra Pokemon here is the Trapghost EX, but we do have Glass Trumpet, which will be triggered by Terra Pokemon, just like stuff like, no Briere here, but Aerosio Underdepths, Noctowl. So we do have the Glass Trumpet allowing you to accelerate 2 energies to your bench colorless Pokemon, 1 to each from your discard pile. So this allows you to get extra energies on Trapghost, allowing you to actually attack, because you can't use Origin Form Palkia V-Star's ability to accelerate to Trapghost because it's not water. But speaking of Origin Form Palkia V-Star, we got to talk about this one. This card's insane, I think, from the set. It's a very good deck. And its ability, Star Portal, says during your turn, you may attach up to 3 basic water energy cards from your discard pile to your water Pokemon in any way you like. This is solid. Allows you to power up a Radiant Greninja as well, which is kind of good, but, it's nothing absolutely insane. We have Subspace Swell here for 2 waters, which you can pay pretty easily. We have you don't have any form of energy acceleration outside of the V-Star power, but the V-Star power should be more than enough, because if you just attach an energy every turn, then use this ability to get 3 extra energies, that literally just powers up all your Palkias. Actually, more than all your Palkias. So that's perfectly fine. But Subspace Swell is 60 base and 20 more for each bench Pokemon, both yours and your opponents. You each have 8 bench Pokemon. Then you're hitting, I don't know, you're hitting like a lot of damage. I think it's like 380 or something. But in order to be hitting, if you have a full bench, your opponent has no bench Pokemon, then you have 8 bench plus so you're going to be hitting 220, which is a lot. They probably have some bench Pokemon, so you're going to be one-shotting a lot of things with this, and it's just a very strong attacker. And it puts your opponent into an awkward position as well, where they now have to decide how many Pokemon they want to bench. But, if you're hitting that like 280 mark, if they have 3 bench Pokemon, which is very fair, then that's pretty good. If you're up against a deck like Charizard EX, you have the Iron Leaves EX as well. So that's just like another type. You don't need lots of water energies. This would allow you to play Crispin as well, which I think can be played in these decks. I don't know if we'll talk about it later, but it's only in Japanese, so. But it allows you to accelerate energies, but you need 2 different types of energies. As I said, I don't know if Palkia is playing this card. Just going to take a quick look. This Palkia list plays it. And the other Palkia, a few, like 3, maybe 2 or 3. So yeah, Palkia can play Crispin, and so having multiple types of energy does open that up. But having the option to, beat Charizard, you have just freedom of energies, honestly, so you can do that. Then we have, speaking of grass energies, with no Trapkus this time, but we do have the Noctowl. We do have the Fan Rotom. We do have Area Zero Under Depths. Yet again, we do have Crispin. And here it is. Search your deck for 2 basic energy cards of different types. And you really do need different types, but you attach one card, one of those energies to one of your Pokemon, put the other into your hand. If you only have one energy, though, it just goes to your hand. So keep that in mind. But you have 3 types of energies in this deck. If you don't know this deck, play live just a little bit. Live isn't the best, but this deck is all over the ladder. It is a solid deck. I don't know if it's still all over the ladder, but it's certainly there some. And then it allows you to get an extra energy in play, just like Professor Size Vitality, but this time from the deck. And then we have the Teal Best Ogerpon EX, and all the Ogerpon EXs are Terra Pokemon, so they will trigger the Noctowl. Then you also have there's some other new additions to the deck, I think, but there's a new Raging Bolt, which is kind of fun, but nothing super special. But generally, it's the same concepts. But now you can have a bigger bench, right? Sometimes you have bench space issues if you want 3 Ogerpons in play, especially with the Noctowl. Now you actually have an engine, which is nice. It's not like the strongest engine in the game. If your opponent hits you with an Iono late game, you still need to draw into the Noctowls, but it's another out, which is really nice because it allows you to search out the supporter. You really need to Size Vitality every turn, most of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time. And so if you aren't able to hit that, that's a big issue. You're often relying on Pokestop, but Pokestop can't even get Size Vitality. You have to get Trekking Shoes or Pokegear to actually get the Size Vitality. So it's definitely kind of weird, but now it's less weird when you actually have Noctowl, an actual engine. You can use Ultra Ball to get the Noctowls. It's just really, really strong. Next, we've got another big basic deck here, which is going to be Miraidon EX. In this, we see yet again, it plays Area Zero Under Depths. It also plays Cassiopeia. What? I did not look at this list before. Apparently it plays Cassiopeia, though. That's kind of cool. Cassiopeia is an interesting supporter card. Just wanted a quick check here. Oh no, this is from a while ago. So yeah, Cassiopeia is a supporter card that says it lets you search a deck for any 2 cards if it's the only card in your hand. I was not expecting that. I mean, I guess you have Secret Box Synergy, Ultra Ball Synergy. You're just playing lots of items and basic Pokemon, so you can play all the cards and then Cassiopeia. So that's really cool. But then you also have yeah, apparently has been played in a few different decks, but Area Zero Under Depths, also you want to be able to just play all this Pokemon for Cassiopeia, so this opens up your bench, but you don't actually play any Terra Pokemon. So we see Mewtwo EX being played. This has 230 HP, has 2 retreat, which isn't actually great. It's not like the end of the world. It's the same retreat cost as nothing else in this deck. But you have Pokemon like Iron Hands EX with 2. With 4. You have 2 copies of that, and that's going to be in play. You sometimes see Future Booster Energy Capsules can give it free retreat, but most of the time you don't. Also, Blood Moon Ursaluna EX 3 retreat. That's a bit of an issue, so you're just going to switch card out. So 2 retreats, nothing terrible. But Mewtwo EX, its attack, it doesn't do anything, but it is a Terra, it is a Lighting, it is a basic, so it does allow you to actually trigger Area Zero Under Depths. Also, if your opponent's playing it and you're not, or you don't draw into it, having that Terra Pokemon on your bench gives you some cool options. Also, if your opponent hits you, doesn't knock you out, you can discard, or if your Mewtwo EX gets discarded, or if you bump the stadium, then you can go ahead and discard your damaged Pokemon, your damaged Miraidon EX, Blood Moon Ursaluna EX, Iron Hands EX, whatever, and get really good value there. Nothing too crazy from the deck, but it's kind of interesting that they're playing this Pokemon that you just can't attack with. It doesn't do anything, it just kind of sits there. Next, the last deck, and this I think might be the best deck in the set. Charizard EX is also good, but it gets the Briere to take an extra prize. But we see Dragon Ball EX, you got Crispin, and then we also have Sparkling Crystal. This is kind of like Crispin, I guess. It allows you to attack easier, but it says it's a tool and attacks of the Terra Pokemon this card is attached to, cost 1 energy less of any energy type. The engine here is Pidgeot EX, not Noctowl. You could play Noctowl, but Pidgeot EX is pretty consistent. But then we have the Sparkling Crystal plus 4 Sealstone. I think 2 great tools. Having a deck with 2 great Arven targets instead of just 1 or 1 unique tool, because sometimes you'll play 2 4 Sealstones, is really nice. Of course, if you were looking at the meta, you know that there are a lot of basics. I think all the decks had a basic attacker that was really crucial. Pokemon League HQ says attacks used by basic Pokemon in play cost 1 color less more. Your opponent might try to retreat into a not basic attacker, but apparently this is translated as Gravity Orb here. If the Pokemon this card is attached to is in the active, each player's active Pokemon's retreat cost is 1 color less more. Not exactly sure the specific use case of this card, but it is very good against disrupting something like, say, Comfy. Your opponent's going to be wanting to retreat your Comfies, but then also Miraidon, they may have a pivot. Lots of decks just have pivots, and this just shuts off all the pivots. Assuming it's not something weird. Like more Pico, I think has no retreat, or yeah, has no retreat cost as opposed to just a retreat of 0. So you could do that, but overall, I think it's just a really, really um, cool deck. It's one I'm excited to play. You can put lots of different cards in as well. But tell me what you think of the meta down below in the comments. Tell me if there are other decks you want me to talk about as well. I did look at Hydrapple. There was no Hydrapple. There's no Galvantula, unfortunately, but I imagine we'll see those decks at some point. But I hope you enjoyed. Consider liking, subscribing, hitting the bell, all that good stuff. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.